John F. Kennedy and Abraham Lincoln are two presidents who are often considered some of the best to ever assume that position. Both men's presidential terms were tragically cut short by assassins, but the odd circumstances and similarities surrounding both assassinations should be noted. Here are the uncanny similarities between Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy's assassinations. Abraham Lincoln was shot in the back of the head on April 14, 1865, by John Wilkes Booth. This happened while he was attending a play in Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. John F. Kennedy was shot in the head with a sniper by Lee Harvey Oswald while taking part in a motorcade in Dallas, Texas on November 22, 1963. Both men died within 24 hours of being shot, and power went to their vice presidents. That leads us into our first similarity. When Lincoln died, his vice president, Andrew Johnson, took power, and when Kennedy died, his vice president, Lyndon B. Johnson, took power. Both of these men's last names were Johnson, both were Southerners, and Andrew Johnson was born in 1808 and Lyndon B. Johnson was born in 1908. This similarity is pretty mild, but it only gets weirder from here. Abraham Lincoln was elected into Congress in 1846 and elected president in 1860. John F. Kennedy was elected into Congress in 1946 and elected president in 1960. Both Lincoln and Kennedy had a son who died while they were in the White House. Abraham Lincoln's son, William, died of typhoid in 1862 at the age of 11. John F. Kennedy's son, Patrick, died just 2 days after being born. Both Lincoln and Kennedy's wives were present at the time of their assassination. Speaking of their wives, both Lincoln and Kennedy married their wife while she was 24 and they were in their 30s. Now let's look at the two assassins, Booth and Oswald. John Wilkes Booth was born in 1839 and went by 3 names with a total of 15 letters. Lee Harvey Oswald was born in 1939 and went by 3 names with a total of 15 letters as well. Both Booth and Oswald were from the South. Both Lincoln and Kennedy were very passionate about civil rights, with Lincoln passing the Emancipation Proclamation outlawing slavery, and Kennedy proposing the Civil Rights Act of 1864. He would be killed before he could pass the bill, but LBJ passed it for him. Booth shot Lincoln in a theater and temporarily hid out in a warehouse. He was later captured in a barn, and Oswald shot Kennedy from a warehouse and was later captured in a theater. Lincoln was the runner-up in the Republican vice presidential election in 1856, and Kennedy was the runner-up in the Democratic vice presidential election in 1956. Both Lincoln and Kennedy were shot in the head on a Friday, but perhaps the craziest similarity is that Lincoln allegedly had a secretary with the last name Kennedy who warned him not to go to Ford's Theater on the night of his assassination. Kennedy's assistant, Evelyn Lincoln, warned him not to go to Dallas. Now, it is completely proven that Evelyn Lincoln was a real person who warned Kennedy not to go to Dallas, but the secretary of Lincoln named Kennedy is not proven. Both Lincoln and Kennedy's assassins were shot before they could be tried and questioned. How handy for the CIA. Booth was shot by a Union soldier 12 days after the assassination in a barn, and Oswald was shot by Jack Ruby 2 days after he assassinated Kennedy while being escorted out of the Dallas police station. Lincoln and Kennedy also both have 7 letters, and finally, Kennedy was shot in a Lincoln brand car. Now, do you think these are all coincidences, or is there something else at play?